Assembling your E-motor mount for the BT60 tube size. You'll have one E-motor tube, one E-motor hook, a forward thrust ring, a centering ring with no slots, and a centering ring with a small slot. Because the shock cord attaches to the motor mount, you'll have a Kevlar shock cord and elastic shock cord. Take both ends of your shock cord and tie them together with one overhand loop. And pull tight. Then on one end of the Kevlar shock cord, tie a single loop. Take your motor tube, your E-motor hook, insert in the pre-cut slot in your motor tube. While holding it, take your centering ring with a small slot and pass your shock cord, the Kevlar end through with a knot through the slot, and place it over on the forward end of the tube. Slide it over and slide it a little bit past the marks around the outside of the tube where the centering ring will be finally glued. Take your centering ring without the slot and put it on the aft end or the hook end of the motor tube and slide it on the tube part way, but not all the way to the marks where it will be finally located. Take some glue and put a bead of glue around the motor tube between the centering ring and the marks on the tube, and then slide your centering ring until it's on the marks on the tube. Then take a bead of glue and put on the opposite end of the centering ring a bead or a fillet, so that you have a fillet on both sides. Notice that the knot is located in line with the end of the motor hook. On the opposite side, or the aft end, now also put a bead of glue around the tube between the marks on the tube and the centering ring, and slide your centering ring until it's on the marks on the tube, and also put a bead of glue around the tube at the point where the centering ring contacts on the other side as well. So both sides of the centering ring have a fillet of glue on both centering rings, and your motor hook should be in straight alignment with the tube. Then take on the forward end of your motor tube, put a little bit of glue, small bead, around the inside of the tube, and take your forward thrust ring, insert it, and push it until it's flush. It will also be against the inside of the motor hook that protrudes through the tube. You can put it on the table surface and push down to make sure it's flush. Set this aside to dry. Preparing the Cobra Striker fins. You have 4 fins, and the decals, there's a decal for both sides of each fin. We're first going to remove the discoloration from the laser cutting on the fins by taking the fin against a 400 grit or higher sandpaper and drawing across just to remove the discoloration from the edges. We're going to color these edges with a red felt tip pen or red paint pen. Do this for all 4 fins. Now that we have all 4 fins and most of the discoloration removed from the edges, we're going to remove our sandpaper and clean the area, remove the debris, blow the fins off, take your first decal and remove it. And apply it to the fin. There is a root edge here that mates to the body tube, and at the tip here should just meet the body tube with the tab inside the tube. We're going to line up with the root edges, and your decal may overlap the fin edges or maybe slightly under. We're going to trim and color this with a red felt tip pen or paint pen, so none of this shows. Take your second half of your fin and apply it to the other side in the same manner. And the root lined up with a little overlap on the trailing, the tip of the fin, and the leading edge. We're now going to trim the excess decal off. Take a sharp knife and draw it along the length of the balsa and trim away the excess decal. Do this on the leading edge, the fin tip, and the trailing edge. Then take your red felt tip pen or paint pen and color the edges of the leading edge of the fin and the trailing edge of the fin. If there are any areas where the balsa is showing, you can touch that out, or any wide edges on the decal. You can also put a little bit of the red where the fin is going to go inside the body tube, just in case some of this may show. Do this for all 4 fins. Preparing your Cobra Striker main tube. We're going to apply the decals to the main tube. You can first take one of the black stripes and remove it. And on your tube, there's a line marked down through the center on both sides. One has a launch lug mark, and just to the left of this line, we're going to apply our black decal stripe using the line as a guide for the edge, and overlap the bottom of the tube about 50 thousandths, or a little less than a 16th of an inch, and then smooth on your decal. We'll do the same for the other side. Again, applying just to the left of the line. Using the line as a guide. Like so. Then take your red decal and apply it to the right side of the line. Just above the black decal. Use the line as a guide. And smooth down. Do the same for the other red stripe. Just above the black decal. And on the line, leaving the launch lug mark exposed. Like so. Then take your Cobra Striker decal and apply to the area on the tube that is marked with a rectangle. Overlap the lines on the rectangle just a little bit. Be careful and apply just over the line so that you're covering up the marked lines. And the lines are all covered all the way around. Do the same for the last decal. Just over the line to cover up the lines and smooth on. And these are all the decals that need to be applied. We need to trim